You are listening to FTNS, world's first fitness radio. Online at ftns.co. The Body Shop connects you with the hottest fitness models in the world. Learn the backstage secrets that most successful bikini divas, fitness models, and bodybuilders use to dominate their competition and land on the covers of magazines. Only here at the Body Shop will we allow you to listen and talk to the best in fitness competition. If you're passionate about bodybuilding and fitness, you have found your new home. All of us here at FTNS Radio would like to welcome you to the Body Shop. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome your host, Andre Brick St. Clair.
Yeah. Welcome to the Body Shop. I am your host, Andre Brick St. Clair. My in-studio co-host, Mr. Brian Canone.
What's up, Andre?
Hey, B, how you doing today, man?
Not bad.
All right. Hey, B, you know what? I got a special guest on the line. But before we get into that, right, I want to talk a little bit about the upcoming event, Fitness Atlantic Championships,
okay.
April 16th at the Oakdale Theater.
Yep.
What special surprise do you have in store for the guests?
I don't think people really understand how much different it's going to be this year.
Okay.
And we started off at the Palace Theater in downtown New Haven. It was always a big show, and then unfortunately the Palace closed. We were at East Haven High School for the past 7-8 years.
That's right.
And the show always sold out, so it did well. But at the same point, I always wanted to move to a bigger venue. I always wanted to take it back to that, where you're able to say a name of a place and people go, "Oh wow."
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know the Oakdale.
Come on.
A lot of people don't know what this is.
Who don't know the Oakdale?
Well, there's a lot of people who have never been there before. I mean, we've been there for some big concerts. We just went there for wrestling, and
That's right.
But it's a beautiful place. I mean, you have that whole dome area, which is going to have Tony Horton.
There you go.
P90X in the dome.
P90X will be there. Doing the workout.
It's just drawing an unbelievable crowd. I mean,
Right.
we already have 150 people coming to work out with Tony. I mean, I think the goal is going to be about 500. People tell me I could bring in 1,000 people to come work out with Tony Horton.
Wow.
That's how popular this guy is. And, then in the theater itself is ridiculously large.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 5,000 seats, skyboxes, everything, the big video screens up in the corners.
That's right.
People don't understand. And then, to do everything, which is just like the WBFF World Championships.
That's right.
We both went to the Quebec show, which was a gorgeous show. Beautiful casino.
It was a beautiful venue.
Unfortunately, you weren't able to come with me to the World Championships, which was just the staging and lighting was even better. And I don't think people really can. We talk about people appreciating lighting and whether some of these shows are just so auditorium, black curtain, Home Depot floodlights, and away you go.
Yeah,
there you go,
yeah.
plastic trophies, and
There you
let's
go.
have a little show here.
Right.
No, the World Championships was pretty amazing.
Okay.
So which leads a little bit into what we're talking about here. We're having somebody on the line.
That's right.
Which
That's right.
has to do with the World Championships and that show.
Okay.
Who I believe was her first time at the WBFF.
Really?
Was invited in because she had won some big name shows. One being like the Arnold Classic, and was able to go in. And I remember talking to this person before she made the decision to go through with it, because now that she won, all of a sudden she was getting a lot of phone calls from other people like, why are you going to leave one federation and go to the next? And I'll tell you that show definitely did not disappoint.
No.
I mean, just, and the lighting and the way the thing was produced was just, really like American Idol.
Right.
And that type of staging and everything. So, you want to...
So, as we're talking about somebody that, quote-unquote, jump shipped.
Yep.
All right. And the actual show that this person won was the 2010 Arnold Classic Bikini Championship. So,
yeah, but
ladies...
hold on a second.
What's up?
Before you go into that.
Yeah.
that was just the one before. That was the year before.
I understand that.
No, this is the WBFF.
I understand that. We're going to get into the WBFF. I promise you, we're going to get into the WBFF. Okay. But I want him to know that, you know, this is not just the typical run-of-the-mill competitor here. You know what I mean? Like, this is somebody that's made it into what's known as the big time here in the States. You know what I mean? So for them to take time out of their day to call in to the Body Shop right here on FTNS Radio is a big deal. You know what I mean? So I want to bring them in real popular-like. All right? What's up? What's up? Get quiet.
Whisper to you.
Don't whisper to me. So, ladies and gentlemen, coming into the Body Shop is your 2010 WBFF Pro Bikini World Champion, international recording artist. Please give it up for Miss Chady Dunmore.
Yay.
Chady.
Wow.
What's up? How you doing?
I like that. I think I need a recording of that in my house.
Hey, you know what? I tell you what, for a reasonable fee, which will be brownies, you know what? I could do something like that for you.
That's awesome.
How you doing out there?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Oh, man, you know, we're just doing great down here at the Body Shop. Now, Chady, let's get into the question that I'm sure is on a lot of people's mind. Okay? And that is, you won the 2010 Arnold Classic Bikini Championship. And then you decided to jump ship, which is you left the IFBB and you decided to compete with the WBFF. What was that like, and how did you come about making that type of decision?
Wow, it kind of happened really fast. After I won the Arnold Amateur Bikini Championships in March last year, I decided to go get my pro card because I wanted to compete the following year, figuring that I didn't have my pro card. So I got my pro card at Team Universe in New Jersey, and 10 days later, I decided to make that change. And within those 10 days, a lot happened in 10 days. I got my pro card, and I decided, hey, you know, I have an IFBB pro card. You know, what's next? Of course, it's like, you know, after you get your pro card, everybody wants to know what show you're going to compete in as your first pro show.
Right.
And I live in Sacramento, so of course it was going to be the Sac Pro show. And then I just kind of like did my research on the WBFF. I was approached by, you know, the federation and did my homework on it. And then I spoke to Paul Gillette myself, and that was huge because I spent like a little bit over an hour on the phone with him. And he just pretty much gave me, you know, his rundown on his federation and what he expects from his athletes and how he likes to represent them and so on. And just getting that feedback from him, I never really got anything from the IFBB other than, you know, just the shows I competed in, and, you know, you get your hardware, and that's pretty much it. You get your card, and, hey, take some pictures here and there, and that's it.
Okay.
You don't really get anybody to talk to you or, hey, this is how we'd like to help you, and, you know, no one pretty much, you know, I didn't get any calls. Not to say that I expected it, but, hey, it was really nice to get one from a federation who cares about their athletes.
Definitely.
And, yeah, so so that was pretty much, I kind of, like, it just kind of happened like that. I was just really, you know, excited about, you know, the phone call with Paul and, you know, what his federation represents and how their athletes, like, I did my homework on all the athletes. They're, you know, they're all doing something with their careers.
Right.
You know, and they're all, like, the women are amazing athletes. They're beautiful. They represent strong, confident, classy women. So for me, I was like, wow, I want to be in that team. And I just pretty much made the decision, like, literally in one day. And I have no regrets. I'm very happy with the WBFF. I think it's a wonderful federation, and all the athletes are amazing. So I'm excited I made that decision. And now I'm the world champion.
There you go. There you go. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, with you being the world champion, okay, you're pro bikini world champion, what are you doing now that's different as you prepare for the WBFF World Finals this year to defend your title?
Well, after I won the World Championships, I pretty much, I watched my video and I sat down with my trainer and I said, how am I going to, compete next year? How am I going to, beat that?
Right.
And we pretty much dissected, myself on, body parts, and I am specifically working on body parts that, I need to work on, and I'm definitely going to be raising the bar this year. I'm going to step it up, and I plan to beat last year's winner, which is myself. So I'm definitely gonna take it up a notch. And I literally started training 60 days after I won my title. So I'm changing eating stuff, and training is a little bit different. Just kind of seeing what works and how my body's changing. So this year is definitely going to be a show for the audience on what I bring to the stage.
Okay, and in your personal opinion, what do you feel that you bring to the stage that will set you apart from any of the other fitness competitors that will be on stage with you?
Well, what I think sets me apart from the other competitors is that I feel like, and all the other shows, I feel like I've enjoyed myself on stage. It hasn't been really like me, like, oh my God, it's all or nothing, Chady. That's it. Like, if you don't win this competition, your life is over. Like, for me, it's actually, as a mom, I'm just excited to actually be on stage and compete with these amazing women, and I've enjoyed it, and I think it shows on stage. I'm really excited to be on stage. I think this time is going to set me apart is that I really want to win this. I really want to defend my title, and I'm going to be fighting tooth and nails to, I'm not letting go of that crown. Okay. So I think it's going to be a little bit different this year.
All right. Now, with you deciding to defend tooth and nail to defend your crown, be honest with me about something, Chady. Okay. Well, you said that you're prepared to defend your crown and go tooth and nail. Okay. So be honest with me on something, okay? Be honest with me on something.
Okay.
Who do you see as your major competition right now?
Gosh, you know what? All of them are, because you know what? This is the thing. Every single one of those girls, they are everybody wants that crown, and I think that everyone is possibly a contender for me. Right. I can't sit there and say, oh, second place Tiffany or third place, Claire Ray is it could be anybody. It could be sixth place, seventh place. It could be last place. You know, it's I don't know what these girls are doing behind doors. So they're pros for reasons, and they're definitely all contenders. I can't really sit there and say there's one person. There's a few girls that didn't compete last year that are going to be after going after my title this year. So I just can't really say one person. I think they're all after it. So I'm excited to be, on stage this year, and I'm going to definitely defend my title. Nice.
Now I have Brian Canone here with me, and Brian has a question for you.
Yeah. Question would be so you're in the pro class and you're competing in the pro, and there's a lot of women coming into the show this year into Fitness Atlantic, and we didn't have Bikini Diva last year in the event. We had Fitness Model, but Bikini Diva, a lot of girls are entering and they're putting bikini. And I don't know if they think that it's more like my show was last year, which it was more of a different style of bikini where they had a themed sportswear and then they had their swimsuit round. So this year they're coming in and now they have bikini and now they have the gown round. So is there something that you would say for these girls to come in and present themselves? See, a lot of people too, they think the WBFF question that I get is that they think it's a little too overly sexy. And I'm like, no, it's not at all. And that's like a rumor that's out too. So what would you say to amateur girls going into the Bikini Diva a little bit about the division itself?
Well, bikini, I think is the Bikini Division in general, I think is exploding because of how attainable the look is. It's more marketable. I think it's more of a lifestyle that girls can actually, live these lifestyles and, you can actually look this way, 9, 10 months out of the year. And I think that's why the women are so attracted to competing in the bikini world. As far as the WBFF, it being too sexy, I think the women are drop-dead gorgeous. I don't think it's too sexy for us to have an evening gown round, and that just says in itself how classy the division is. Right. I think that my, best advice to the girls competing in the bikini division is to, choose, the suit and the evening gown that best represents you. I know there was a lot of, looks and faces that I got from other girls and just friends and family who were just like, you're going to wear a yellow dress? And I'm like, well, yellow's my favorite color, and, it looks really good with a great dark tan on stage, and that's what I'm going to do, and that's just me. And for me, I felt comfortable, and I felt really pretty in that dress, and I felt happy, and et cetera. So for me, like, I was, I had to feel that way in order for me to bring my A game on stage. And I think that, it shows that on stage when other judges see that, like, wow, she looks really happy. She looks, wonderful in that color. And you could tell by the way they, walk on stage and so on. I think that's really important. I mean, you get advice from other people. You should wear this color, or this is the winning color. Every girl wears this color and it wins.
Right.
Right.
They all look the same.
Yeah, it's like, you got to do what fits you. And I think that the fact that I, set outside those, those typical colors, and I think that people are like thrown off by it, but also like, I think people like that. The fact that I don't go by what other people want. Like, what I wore to the Arnold bikini, I mean, I did I didn't do the triangle top. I did a bandeau top, and it was sunflowers. Like, that's not sexy. Like, if I told some random person, I'm going to wear sunflowers on my bikini, and it's not going to be, they're going to be like, you're not going to even get top 10.
Right.
So, but, that's what I felt. I felt really good, and I felt the prettiest on that day, and I had a good hair day, and I felt, like I felt my best, and I think it showed on stage. And that's what set me apart from the other competitors. And I think that's important for the other girls to know that. You gotta wear and represent what you love and what you feel comfortable in.
That's right. Okay, so when I apologize, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Okay, I got to take a commercial break. All right, but when I come back, I want to talk a little bit about what you and Brian touched on, and that's the show being perceived as overly sexy or not. Okay, and then I want you to take me through a typical day in the life of Chady. When does it start, and what happens throughout the day? So stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to The Body Shop right here on FTNS Radio. I got to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.